What are amongst the biggest mistakes people make in custody battles? Well, my name is Akiva Goldman. I'm the director and founder of Goldman & Associates. Our firm has a primary focus on family law issues here in Michigan, and today we're continuing our video series designed to educate and inform the public. So please subscribe to our channel. Amongst the biggest mistakes that people make when they're trying to get custody of their kids, believe it or not, is speaking negatively about the other parent in front of the child. This always backfires because the court expects that reasonable, responsible people will have the discretion and the decency and the judgment to keep their feelings to themselves and not put the child in the middle. Another thing you got to realize is, no matter how you slice it, the child is half yours and half the other one's. So if you're going to call the other guy an idiot, you're calling your kid an idiot because that makes him half idiot. So you've really got to be very, very careful in how you do this, and it reflects very, very poorly in front of the court. You don't get any traction at all by doing that and involving the child and disparaging the other parent, and the court really doesn't take kindly to that. So that's a huge mistake. Another mistake is showing the court that you don't care about what it says. If you show the court that you don't care about what it says, then the court has no reason to accommodate you. The court is going to accommodate those people who respect its orders. So if the court gives an order of parenting time, for example, and it's a temporary order, and one of the parties is living up to it and one of the parties is not, when the court is later on deciding a permanent solution, a permanent custody order, the court's going to know that I've got on the one hand somebody who abides, and on the other person, in the other person, I have somebody who violates. I'm not going to give that person the benefit. All they're going to do is violate the other person's rights. I'm not going to do it. So that plays out very, very poorly. Another thing that I think is a huge mistake is coming to the court with all sorts of allegations supported by no level of evidence. So you see this all the time. So-and-so will say, oh, she's abusive and she does this and she does that. Yeah, well, did you call CPS? Well, no. Do you have a police report? Well, no, I don't have that. Do you have any verification of any type that supports it? Do you have a text, an email, or something complaining to the other, something that occurred at the time that document? Well, no, not really. In other words, all you've done is waste the court's time because you've given a bald allegation supported by nothing, and you expect the judge to take that into account, which really shows a complete disrespect for the court. Doesn't work. That's something you really want to avoid. Another huge mistake that people make is they don't hire a lawyer. Now, I know that people will say, well, lawyers always say you should hire lawyers because they want to make money. Well, yeah, I have to acknowledge that there is that element. But at the same time, people are always hiring doctors to do abdominal surgery. Very few are doing that on themselves. And to a considerable degree, handling your own case in a family law matter particularly is like doing surgery on yourself. You're going to have a horrible patient and a terrible doctor. Similarly, in a legal matter, you've got to realize you don't have the knowledge, the experience, or the objectivity to do this appropriately. You're not going to be able to tell yourself, I understand how you feel, but you will see that in a month and 2 months and 3 months, it'll all even out and you'll be good. You don't have the objectivity to do that. You only have the objectivity to see that, well, you don't like what's going on and you're going to make that person suffer. And you know what? Maybe there's a place for that, but with respect to legal proceedings and looking at the long-range plan, that format does not work. What you really need to do is get somebody who can give you some good advice. Get a lawyer whose vision of the case is the same as yours. Ultimately, you want to get along with your ex? Well, then you got to get a lawyer who shares that vision. You got to work out a plan that's designed to meet your ultimate goals. If you work out a plan designed to only satisfy your immediate lust for revenge, that may feel good at the moment, but it will never serve you in the long run, nor will it make for much of a custody case down the road. So you've really got to consider that when you have an IRS thing, you go to a CPA. You have an audit, you get a professional. When you have a medical thing, you go to a doctor. Just because the law says that a person has the constitutional right to represent themselves does not mean that you should, and does not make it a good idea. I would say in family law matters where it's highly emotionally charged, it's a horrible idea to do that. And that is one of the classic mistakes that people make in family law cases. If you have any questions about your case, of course, reach out. We'll be glad to help you out.